This video is a part of the A to Z series of Python language where I go through all the built-in functions of Python starting with letter O, with the description of how to use them. The imported library functions and classes are written using these built-in functions only. So you can consider this as a foundation of the entire Python language. If you have landed directly on this video, you can check out the entire playlist in the iCard above or through the link in the description. Otherwise, watch this video till the end as I will also give real project examples where these functions might be useful wherever I can. My name is Aditya Shenoy from Brainy Things, where I make programming simple and fun. YouTube statistics show that a small percentage of you who watch my videos are actually subscribed to this channel. So if you end up liking this video, please consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind in future. The first function is the object function. This function does not take any parameter. It returns an object of type object. So I will create a variable obj and I will call object function like this. Now I can check the type of this object by using the type function, and as you can see, this variable is now of the type object. This object type is the base of all other classes in Python. This does not have any other features or functionalities as such. You can consider this as an abstract class from which all other classes inherit default functions. So let's see what attributes are present inside the object. So these are the default functions that all Python classes inherit by default. Now, after seeing this object type, you won't be surprised at how custom classes are automatically populated by these default functions and attributes because all classes of Python automatically inherit from this object type. You won't use this function anywhere, but Python internally makes use of this function when you create a custom class. The next function is the oct function, that is the octal function. This function returns the octal representation of the integer that is passed to this function. So I will pass a value of 74 inside this function and I will get an octal representation of 74. You cannot change the default format of this string to say remove this prefix. For that you can use format function or fstrings. I have made a detailed video on this topic in a separate video. If you want to check that video, I will link that in the iCard above. If the object passed in the oct function is not an integer object, then the class should have an index method which returns an integer value which then will be converted to the octal representation. So let's create a custom class and define the double underscore index function with no parameters apart from self, and for this simple example we will just return 74. Now I will call the oct function and pass an object of this my class custom class, and as you can see the output return is same as before because we have returned 74 by this double underscore index function. Oct functions are useful for number conversions in different bases. Even though format has more flexibility than oct, if you don't have any specific format requirements as such and you only care about the octal value, then you can definitely use this function. The next function is the open function. This function, as the name suggests, opens a file for IO operations. Before demonstrating this, I will show you the directory where this notebook file is stored. As you can see, there is a file abc.txt which contains some lines of text like this. This function takes a mandatory parameter which should be the file name inside a string. So in this case, I will pass abc.txt. This file name can be relative file path like this or a complete path. If this file name does not exist or the file cannot be opened, file not found error or another OS error is raised. The object returned is the file object. You can use this file object to read and write to a file. In this case, the file is opened only for reading, so we can read the contents of the file by using f.read. As you can see, the value returned by this function is a string containing all the text that was present inside the file. And if we try to write using this file object, then it will raise this unsupported operation error. So if you want to open a file for writing or you want to create a new file, you have to specify the write mode in the open function. So I will create another object with the same name abc.text and I will specify the write mode. This is an optional second parameter which by default has a value of R, which is the read mode, which was applicable for the last example. Now we will specify write mode by a string W. In this case, the file won't be readable, but you can now use the write function. So I will use write function like this, and I will write hello world string, and if I run this, it returns me how many characters were written. And if I go to my notepad, the changes are not reflected directly. So I will try to close and reopen the file, and as you can see, the file content is gone. So where is the text that we just wrote using this program? Remember that whenever you open a file for any IO operations, you should close the file object once you have done your IO operations. So I will close the file object using f.close. Now if I run this and go to my notepad, by closing it and again opening this file, you can see the text that I just wrote is reflected in this file. To avoid forgetting to close files and let Python automatically handle this for you, you can use the with keyword. So with open file name as normal, specify the IO operation mode as F. In this case, F is just the file object that will be assigned this file object returned by the open function, and inside this block with block we can write all the IO operations that we need. So I will write hello Python like this, and after the block execution is over or some error occurs, Python will ensure that the file object is closed properly. So if I run this and reopen my text file, I can see the text that has been written. But wait, where is the previous text? Whenever we open a file in write mode, the file's content is completely truncated and the text is written on top of it. In some cases where you want to create a new file, or you want to truncate the text file, or you want to overwrite the previous text, this write mode is useful. But what if you want to retain the previous text and add more text to the file? In that case, you can use the append mode. So I will copy these lines and change the write mode to append mode like this by specifying the string A, and I will change the string. If the file does not exist, it will still create a new file like the write mode, but if the file exists, the content of the file is retained and new text will be appended to the end of file. So I will run this and reopen the text file, and as you can see the previous text is still there and the new text that we just wrote is also present, and it got appended at the end of the file. You can also add a new line character so that this text comes in the second line. There is one more mode which is exclusive write mode, denoted by letter X. So I will copy this text again and I will change this letter A to letter X, denoting the exclusive write mode. This will create a new file for writing, but if the file already exists, like in this case, it will raise an error, file exists error. But if I create a new file like this, it will raise no errors and ab.text is being created like this. If you want to read or write in the file using a byte stream, you can use the byte mode along with one of the above modes. I will again open the file abc.txt. In this case, I want to read but in binary mode. I will name this file object as f, and inside this with block I will print f.read. And see, we are getting a bytes object instead of a string. Similarly, you can use the write mode and the binary modes to write bytes or byte array object inside the file. So I will again use this abc.txt and use two modes, write mode and binary mode, and inside this block I will use f.write and I will print the bytes of hello Python. And if I see the contents, it has been written as the normal string and not the bytes object. So these two modes are useful when you are working with bytes object inside the program, but you want text to be written inside the file, so you can use this binary mode inside the open function. You can also use a neat trick to write content to files using the print function. For that, we have to import the sys library and we have to set the system.stdout to the file object returned by the open function. And we have to specify the write mode. And if I use print function now and write anything and run this, and as you can see, the print function did not print the output in this output region, but the output is redirected to this file, as you can see, like this. This is what most of the online competitive programming sites will do. They will write the output of your program to a file and then check the content of the file to the expected answers file. Using the print function is more versatile than using the file.write function, but this involves importing the system library and you can only write string and not byte stream to the files. You can choose whatever option you prefer. There are more parameters to this open function which are applicable for specific use cases only. The parameter buffering can specify the size of the buffer in bytes. The encoding parameter can specify the encoding if the file is encoded or should be encoded in a specific encoding. The errors parameter is a string parameter which specifies how to handle encoding and decoding errors, which predefines some string values that can be passed. The newline parameter specifies the newline used in the file. If closefd parameter is false and a file descriptor rather than a file name was given, the underlying file descriptor will be kept open when the file is closed. A custom opener can be used by passing a callable to the opener parameter. You can read more about these parameters in the Python documentations which I have linked in the description. I am not including them here in this video as for the majority of the times you will not need to use these optional parameters at all apart from the mode parameter. Open function is very useful to read and write files. Sometimes you might want to retain some data in a file instead of keeping it in RAM. Like for example, for games, you might want to store the high score in a file. Sometimes the data is so big that it cannot fit into RAM. So in this case too, you will store the chunks of data in multiple files and process the amount of files that can be fit into the RAM. The next function is the ORD function, that is the ordinal function. It returns the ordinal value or the Unicode value of the character passed to the function. This function takes a single parameter which should be a character that is a single length string. It returns the Unicode value corresponding to that letter. So 65 is the ASCII value or the Unicode value of capital A. Passing a string of bigger length than 1 will lead to error like this, type error. Odd expected a character but string of length 6 found, so you can only pass a string of single length character. This function is the inverse of the character function. Both these functions can be used for text algorithms which are common in problem solving in competitive programming. So these were all the built-in functions that start with letter O. If you ended up liking this video, please press that like button, comment any feedback that you have for this video or this channel, share this video with your friends. The code that I write in all my videos of this channel is available in my GitHub profile, whose link is in the description. You can connect to me via LinkedIn, whose link is again in the description, and I will see you in the next video.